Hello everyone. Well, there has been an engineering related incident recently, namely some drone warfare. And because I got quite a few questions from friends and acquaintances about some of the pictures and also some of the happenings, this is a video where I'm going to try and answer questions such as why there was such a fireworkish effect in the sky and what goals were planned or what goals can be achieved by such drone maneuvers. So, as always, here's the order of battle and stay tuned for more. To answer this question, we have to go back in time to 1991, the first Gulf War. In the first Gulf War, the Iraqi air defenses were actually pretty good, but they were taken down on the first day. And one of the reasons why they were taken down is this thing here, which is essentially a decoy drone which looks like a B-52 when a radar scans it. And this already brings us to the answer. Here we have a very rough and very wrong simplified overview of the Iraqi air defense system. In the core there was an SGS computer called Kari, which was controlling all the radar data and the divisional and the missiles and all this stuff. Basically, the radar network was governed by this Kari computer system. And the problem was that Kari was designed to only handle up to 64 targets at once. Because when the system was designed, the expectation was an attack of a small regular enemy and basically not an attack of the world Kahal. And so what basically happened was the system was just so flooded with drones, also with these target drones and other stuff, that it just completely shut out. And so the divisional commands had no targeting data, and even the missile bases didn't have much targeting data, which will become a problem we will look at also at a later step in the video. But basically, the target of a saturation attack in the first step is to just overload the system. And yes, in today's time of cheap memory, this would be like 64,000. So the saturation target moves on one step further. And yes, the actual environment we are dealing with then is this. Here we've got our rocket base. And there's three problems in the defense. First of all, these missiles are quite expensive and they need to be loaded and erected to fire. And for this, you need workers who get tired. And finally, you need a warehouse of missiles. And usually, this missile warehouse tends to run out quite quickly. And so the strategy is basically that you just keep firing until the air defense stations run out of equipment, and then you basically have succeeded in the saturation attack, and then you can also bring in higher value equipment which you don't want to risk losing. So in the first wave you send cheap drones, and then when you see the air defense activity has subsided, then you send in the heavy ones, and then you really start to tax. And one more important aspect which I did not see, or at least I do not know the targeting information, I don't have it, is a process called Buntschießen. It comes from the German army. It means as much as diverse color shooting. And the whole idea behind Buntschießen is that it's a way to ensure that the adversary keeps expending his ammunitions. And to do this, you alternate between buildings which are strategically important for you to destroy, such as enemy air bases and stuff, and between buildings which, if they get destroyed, cause significant problems for the adversary government. I mean, this of course can be a problem regarding to international law. I'm not a lawyer, and as said, I'm I'm an Austrian citizen, so I'm limited in what I can say. But there are a lot of sites which, if they get attacked and destroyed, the civilian population gets really angry and really unhappy. And so, Buntschießen, multicolored shooting, in all waves, especially in the beginning, you try to attack these popular sites. And then what you can also do is you can probe the air defense by regularly attacking such a center of importance, such a Kraftort, regularly to check if the air defense still fire or not. And that allows you to much more efficiently allocate your forces to damage the military infrastructure. Frequently when you mention this to more civilian people, on both sides of the conflict, I know people, and this is the kind of shit where you get the blonde woman sitting with you in first class, spitting, let's bomb their kindergarten. And there is something very important to keep in mind. This good guy here, Sir Arthur Harris, he did this in the Second World War. And afterwards, research was done, and also on the British and the German side. In both cases, the West Germans or the Brits who got bombed actually got angry and got more motivated, not less motivated to fight. This is usual, I know, I always mention this guy, but Carlton W. Mayer's book is excellent, and one of his core tenets is that civilians have a significant problem understanding that you have to destroy their house, kill their wife or girlfriend, and kill their cat in order to liberate them. They have a significant problem with this concept. And this is what you must keep in mind, that when you overdo it with attacking soft targets, the population starts to hate you and gets more motivated to go to war. And now we come to the second question. Why did the sky over the target nation look like fireworks? And the answer for this is actually more complicated than you think, and I'm going to give it to you now. And with that, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Please keep it civil in the comments. No political infighting. We're all professionals here who are just doing our jobs. Thank you so much. Bye bye. And to understand the answer for the fireworks stuff, we need to think of the morale of the people on the ground. When you've got here an army and they understand that they've got no air cover, then they think that they are sitting ducks or they might just surrender, which in fact has happened quite often, especially in poorly motivated armies. And this is also brings us back to the Iraq campaign, because the Iraqi air defense system was basically blinded after Kari went out. But then what happened was this. Basically, all of the air defense units and all of the missile units just started firing blindly, like in Bang Bang, into the air. And the reason for this was that the ground forces and the civilians saw this, and so they didn't feel completely defenseless. And it was mainly an act of show. They often didn't even have targeting for the missiles, but it kept the motivation of the ground troops higher. And of course, also, when you watch the TV, you must keep in mind that you can do a lot by changing the aperture size. And of course, film teams like these streaking firework scenes, and so of course they do everything with the camera what they can do to make it look more dramatic. This is also something you need to keep in mind. And now there is a third question. Was it actually successful as a tit-for-tat attack, or was it unsuccessful? Because there has not been a significant amount of damage, either material or immaterial. And now the question is, of course, what is the economics behind it? And to understand what war actually, how it works, basically we've got here the military-industrial complex. Cash and resources go in and war goes out. And if no cash and no resources go in, then no more war goes out. In the international law, they basically call this the bellatio. And now this is where we can understand the strategy a little bit more. And to actually answer much of the target now, we need to look very simple. Here we've got the drone, which costs 2,000 or 3,000 US dollars. And here we've got the missile, which costs like 50,000 US dollars to fire. And so, from the point of view of the attacker, every time he loses a drone, he also causes a loss of 48,000 US dollars to the enemy. And the idea is to just cause problems for the enemy economy. So it's not necessarily a question of destroying houses and killing population. It's a purely economic exchange. And even if the one state is able to tax other states, you just need to make the number difference large enough. And this is something where young military states are at an advantage because their military structure is less ossified. And so they are more willing to go cheap, use 3D printers, use balsa wood, blah, blah, blah. And as long as this number differential becomes large enough, and as long as you can ensure that there is a motivation to engage, this explains probably what happened. And before we get into more detail here about the next question, I wanted to ask you for the usual. Please like, comment and subscribe, because that helps me grow this engineering related channel. And well, if you don't like and subscribe, I can't make any more videos and then there's no more engineering commentary. So please, thank you.